Hey, this is Joe Cox Jr. here. How we doing today? We're down here at the property. Got a fire going. It's probably about 50 degrees right now, and it's calming down, getting towards the evening. Sun's starting to go down. Rooster will probably start crowing in a minute, about that time of the day. But and one day I'm gonna still take you down to the creek. I haven't gone down there lately. The next time I go, I'm gonna do some filming down there. It's really nice. It's a platted creek. It's actually on the map. So anyway, what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about a subject that so many people ask me about, and that is for forgiveness. How do you forgive people? Most people say, I'll never forgive. Most people think when they forgive, they're doing the other person a favor. This is why we're going to talk about it. I've got a whole section in my book that I wrote on this subject because I struggled with it for years. When I tell you I have forgiven my parents, they're still attacking me over this book, by the way. They're still attacking me, and I'm having to tolerate this. But I've still forgiven them. I sent a letter to my mother, letting her know I forgive her. And in her mind, she has done nothing to be forgiven for. So, see, it's all for me then. So it's scary to believe all the things she's done, and she sees nothing to be forgiven about. That's a tell-all right there, isn't it? So what we're going to talk about, who is forgiveness for? Is it for them, or is it for you, or is it for both of you? So in my book, I do a whole chapter on this because I had to live it. I had to try to figure it out from the very basic principles of forgiveness. Went to church for years, never heard them talk about it. Never heard them talk about forgiveness, but never heard them talk about the process of forgiveness. Just to clarify that. Oh, forgive everybody. Just go around forgiving people that hurt you. So when I forgive somebody, does that mean I'm supposed to let them back in my life? Does that mean I'm supposed to trust them again? This is all the things I talk about in the book. Okay. So when we forgive somebody, this is what I realized. When we forgive somebody, it is a self-care act for ourselves. It has nothing to do with them, other than they're the ones you're forgiving. They've got that toxic ball of energy they've handed you, and it's up to you to either hold on to it or hand it back. You hold on to it, you're holding that trapped emotions and that toxic energy. Just hand it back to them. I forgive you. Then go on about your day. Some I talk about in the book that where some of them are really deep, and it takes a while to forgive. But once you understand who it's for, it makes it so much easier. So imagine this, and I'm going to prove to you that it's for you and not for them. Imagine that person that you're holding a grudge and you haven't forgiven them. And that grudge it affects your health. A chip on your shoulder, whatever you want to call it. And now that person dies. They can't even come to you and ask for forgiveness. No, they've died. Do you still hold a grudge against that person? Does it change anything? You see where I'm going with this? If you still have that anger and they're dead, it's all about you. It's nothing about them. What do you think? You agree with that? Leave it in the comments below if you think that that makes sense. This thing about karma, cause and effect and all, that toxic energy thrown at you, and you give it back to them, now they are holding that toxic energy unless they ask you for forgiveness. So the best thing you can do for you is to forgive them, because you now have handed that toxic energy back to them. Now, let's get into trust and boundaries. Do you now hear the gunshots? There's 1,700 acres behind our property of hunting land. They're out there doing some hunting. So sometimes we'll be out next door doing some target practicing. So now, do you trust them again, and do you have boundaries? This is the way I like to say. Trust is always earned, period. So if somebody has done something against you, they've got to, even if you had trust before, they got to rebuild that trust. You put up a boundary. If somebody even asks you for forgiveness, do you have to let them back into your life? I recommend this. You follow your gut on this. You ask your internal guidance system. I talk about that in the book too. We have an internal guidance system that guides us. Some people call it a gut feeling. I go into detail in the book how it sends us and directs us. I had all this stuff years ago. How many people have gone against their gut feeling and it be a wrong decision? Gut feeling's always the right decision. Would you agree with that? Has anybody ever gone against their gut feeling and decided it was the right decision to go against your gut? I've never had anybody tell me that they have. It's right 100% of the time. That's part of your super consciousness. Getting back to just the forgiveness part. What I do is if somebody does something against me, I'll recognize it in my mind. I'll forgive them. I just won't have anything else to do with them anymore. If they come into my life, I'll be very cautious. If they come up to me and say, "Hey, Joe, I realize I did you wrong. Would you forgive me?" Yeah, I'll forgive you. I've already forgiven you, but yeah, for you. Now, if they ask for forgiveness, remember that toxic energy? They created the toxic energy. They handed it to you. You have the choice to keep it with a grudge or hand it back to them. So you hand it back to them. Now, this is part of karma. So now that toxic energy they have, now they want to get rid of it. So they come to you and ask for your forgiveness. When you forgive them, the toxic energy dissipates. All karma has been met. Cause and effect has resolved itself. Think about that. Because now there's no hardship with either party. There's no anger feelings or anything. There's no grudge. Does that mean I'm going to trust them or let them back into my life? No, not necessarily. But we've extinguished all the toxicity out of the relationship, the current toxic relationship. We've exterminated it. Now, wonder if you feel like you've forgiven them. They come up or maybe you say, "I have forgiven you," but they come up to you and say, "Will you forgive me?" That way, they're trying to extinguish their energy that they're carrying, and they ask you, and you say, "No, I will not accept it." Guess who's carrying the energy now? Even though you said that you forgave them, you didn't. So now you've got the energy. What do you think about that? It took me a long time to come up with a way to explain that. I felt like it was a really good way to explain it, and a lot of people, that is actually the number one chapter I get the response on that people love in the book is forgiveness, because everybody has heard about it, but nobody understands really how to forgive in the most effective way, because they figure the trust and all that's part of it, but it's not. It's total separate. I will tell you that most sickness, and through quantum physics, you'll find out that a lot of your sickness, through mind, body, and spirit, that's where you become a whole person. And those three things they will affect each other. And this attracts a lot of sickness to us. And this has been proven through quantum physicists and MDs out there. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist or anything like that, but I'm just repeating what I've read in various books. And each book supports itself, each other. Everything I'm telling you is from what I've experienced, what I've read, and what I've actually applied in my life. Everything I teach you is something I've actually applied and actually worked with it in my life. That's why I have so many stories to tell you. I'll tell you a recent story that there's a gentleman that did something that wasn't so nice. Let's put it that way. And it affected our home. And I went over to explain it. He didn't want to fix it, or he said he would take care of it, but he never did. And I'm still waving at him and that sort of thing. I don't have any hardship towards him, but he blew me off. What does that tell me? I went to him with a concern how someone his property is affecting my property. And I explained it to him. He said, no problem, I'll take care of it. Has it been taken care of? Has it been touched? He hasn't come to me. I still throw up my hand, I wave to him, that sort of thing. I still give him kindness. That's who I am. When you get to that level, life is so much better. We actually create a lot of the old turmoil in our life. I literally went back and I started just forgiving everybody in my life when I started that healing back right before I reconnected with my wife and all, and right after too. But it's really when I found out about the trapped emotions, that was a game changer. And the book tells you all about that as well. Highly recommend it if you hadn't got it yet. Everybody has bought it on the channel, said they really like it, and some of them have given a 5-star review for me, and I appreciate that. Much gratitude. So if you have any more questions on there's other aspects of forgiveness that I want to talk about, but today I think this is a good length that I want to help you to know that if you have any concerns about what I talked about today, leave them in the comments below. I will respond to it. Go look at one of the reviews. There was actually one of the reviews on the book is a lady that her whole review is just about the forgiveness chapter. And that will help you to really understand it. So from Life Made Simple, getting you through this narcissistic world, just let me know that whatever I can do to help you, I'll be glad to do that. But most of all, know that you're an amazing human being, that you have a purpose, and we're going to get you through it. We're going to help you find the answers for you to help you be the amazing person you were born to be, to find your greatness. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and please hit that like button. I'm realizing now that I'm not a digital guy, techie guy, but they're telling me now more people hit that like button, it sends these videos all over the place. What I'm being told. From my heart to yours, know that I wish you nothing but blessings. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.